Hello, buddy. I am FTA.
I'm Jono.
I'm T-Bay.
And I'm the Anti-Guardian.
And then there was Jesus. And welcome back to... No one's going to get that joke. And welcome back to another episode of Sonic Says. This is... Technically, this is going to be the last episode we are doing.
This is the penultimate Archie.
Well, basically, this is going to be the last episode we do in relation to the main series.
Yeah.
Because, again, at this point, we are recording this on June 10th. And
in the year of our Lord, 2017.
And, you know, Archie and Sega have apparently been in quotation marks in talks for about 5 to 6 months now.
Yeah, it is an ongoing process.
An ongoing process. As every time Archie tweets that, TSSC gives us a new article about that, so we're always up to date on that.
So I don't know if I mean, I'm sure our listeners at this point are already up to speed, but I just have to bring attention to... So Archie came out in April and said, at the end of this month, we're going to send an email to our subscribers to let them know what the status of the Sonic the Hedgehog book is. And in typical Archie fashion, on May 2nd or May 1st, I can't remember, but of course it wasn't the end of April, it was the beginning of May. They emailed people out to say, we're talking.
Thanks for that. You couldn't just said that in the first place.
I just want a yay or a nay. Probably a nay.
I just want closure.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's scared to the point where the longer they wait, the less I care.
Yeah.
Like my interest is honestly waning at this point.
I will never not want that Antoine issue. I mean, no, the conclusion of that other thing that's going on.
Mega Drive?
Yeah, that's the thing.
We'll get to that next episode.
Mostly Antoine.
Mostly him. So yes, we thought today we were gonna do the 3 parts of Genesis Over Here and Mega Drive in one go, but we thought we'd just do Genesis in one episode, and then we would do Mega Drive, and then we would round up our thoughts about Archie as a whole, kind of have a retrospective. As again, it's not 100%, but I honestly think this is probably the end. I think it's unlikely.
Oh, yeah.
I think honestly, the most we'll get is a release of Overdrive.
Yeah.
At some point. Sonic Mega Drive, or the conclusion of Sonic Mega Drive, I think that's the one thing that will get released at some point. But aside from that, it's unlikely, I think, that we'll get a honest continuation. Which is, again, it's a... We said last time, I almost wish that the Master Delay happened after Panic in the Sky, because at least then it would have ended on a actual storyline.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm sure we'll get into that after this. So let's start with Sonic the Hedgehog issue 288, Genesis of a Hero, Part 1, Where It All Began. Written by Ian Flynn, penciled by Tracy Yardley, and this we should also mention. I know he did Part 4 of Panic in the Sky, but this is the first time, even though Part 4 didn't come out of this would have been Tracy's first arc back on the main book, probably since Universe began.
Like full arc, because he's done
issues here and there, but this
arc.
would have been his first 4-issue like trade arc.
I think
in a while, probably. I mean, and you know, obviously, if you don't include Worlds Collide, because that was sporadic issues, but yeah, this is his first main book arc in a while, which is, you know, I'm happy for. Always good to see Tracy back. Inks by Terry Austin, colors by Gabriel Cassiter, letters by John Workman. Cover by Patrick Spaziante.
Yeah.
Spaz. Best Sparks variant by Genevieve Fit.
Genevieve
Fit. Featuring
Genevieve FT.
I
don't know.
Hey, I don't know.
What did you say her name was?
Geneville.
Geneville.
No, it's Genevieve.
It might be Geneville.
We have a friend named
Kavafi.
Genevieve.
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
You do.
Jenna.
Oh, that's her real name?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
With some great kavafi on the first.
No, don't say that. He likes it.
Yeah.
You're giving him power.
You're giving Eggman too much power. I think I haven't done it in a while. I think if you guys don't mind, I'll go through these issues.
Oh my god,
Yes,
I'm
I
tearing
do.
up.
So it's actually, you know, just before we begin, a backstory on this. This is kind of like Mega Drive. This arc was meant to be kind of a celebration of the 25th anniversary. from the get-go, obviously Genesis over here on all the covers are based on Sonic 1, 2, 3, and 3 and K, which something they did very similarly for Sonic Genesis, which was a arc they did for the 20th anniversary. And going into this, I was expecting kind of like sort of what Genesis was. I was expecting issue arcs based on the. So I thought part 1 would be a retelling of Sonic 1, part 2 would be a retelling of Sonic 2, then CD and 3 and K and so forth. We don't exactly get that. As you see,
We might partially get that. I
Part
don't know.
one.
Maybe not all, but
part 1 enters with Sonic in Scrap Brain Zone, and essentially he has gotten to Act 3 of Scrap Brain Zone. He runs in and sees
To
Eggman.
Jonathan's dismay, we don't get to see him going in.
oh, how to get there? I don't understand. My object permanence is being challenged. If I don't see it, it doesn't exist.
That's one of my favorite. Jonathan, like praising something. He's talking about Scrap Brain Zone, and he's like, you start outside and then you go in.
Oh, I forgot about that. I do love that. My favorite part of Scrap Brain Zone is the outside, and then the rest of it I hate. I love the background with the.
So you hate the
smoke
first
coming
10
out.
seconds of Scrap. So you love the first 10 seconds of Scrap Brain Zone.
Everything else is garbage. The game should have ended outside.
Garbage.
He just goes in and explodes credits.
do 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 do.
So he basically runs in, and Sonic and Eggman and Snively have this kind of back and forth smack talk, where
My smacks are very, very weak.
Very-
Oh, I can help you improve your smacking ability.
it's a bit weird. I'm not really sure whether
sugar smacks.
just apple smacks. There's less sugar.
Let's check, you fool.
Oh, that bit of sugar. Oh no. There's a nice bit where Snively goes like, "It worked. It worked." And everyone's like, "What's that supposed to mean?" And she's like, "No, nothing. Just that he's been wrecking our stuff for the last few days and kicking the crap out of us, but it worked. Hooray!" And then Eggman jumps on it in the little button, which sends him into Scrap Brain Zone Act 3, which is essentially just Labyrinth Zone Act 4. But with purple water. I just want to say this, a thing we'll see in this issue and the next one, it's very light on story, but it's full of just nice panels of classic Sonic acting, doing stuff in these stages, which is that's why I wish these were vlogs,
Yeah. One of my favorite bits they do while in not Aquatic Ruin or whatever it's called.
Well, Labyrinth Zone Act
Not Labyrinth Zone is where he's like, oh no, the water's purple. It shouldn't be purple.
Water shouldn't be purple, should it? No, no one seems right about this at all.
It even smells like purple, and then he jumps in and he's disgusted. Like I think that's the best.
Kick Robotnik. Step 2, go home. Step 3, shower forever.
Yeah.
Forever. And then Sonic gets back up again as he is prone to do, and then he lands in Final Zone, where Eggman and I guess at this point he still is called Robotnik. Robotnik and Snively.
He referred to him as Robotnik the other day.
And Robotnik and Snively are in those up and down tube things.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get basically a nice few panels of that, and then the crystal lasers, which I always thought that was a Chaos Emerald.
Really?
And in Final Zone, where the thing causes the 4 balls of lightning to come down, I always thought the jewel was a Chaos Emerald.
But it's
were a
round.
fool.
Have you even played Sonic 1?
Yes.
Have you even gone to Final Zone?
Yes. I beat it.
With all the Chaos Emeralds?
Not with all the Chaos
Then
Emeralds.
shut your mouth then.
I'm allowed to speak.
No, you're not.
You found my secret.
Small knives. Sonic basically trashes the machine. There's a nice thing here where there's multiple times over this arc where Eggman or Robotnik just says prepare to die. You're going to die.
Yeah.
Very violent. I like this Eggman. I like this Eggman who threatens violence on a small child, which is essentially what Sonic is in this arc.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he is not a full-blown teenager. I mean, yeah, young adolescent male hedgehog.
We also get a nice panty shot of Snively, where Eggman's putting him into his
I was
his
just
tiny
noticing
magic.
that. I kind of wish that they put a little butt crack and made it flesh color. I think that would have been funnier.
Like Snively goes commando.
That sounds like a really bad movie.
There's a small plot point which I guess is them trying to retroactively fix an issue of Sonic 1, is that they specifically mentioned that one Chaos Emerald is missing
Yeah.
in 1, which is of course, they added a second in 2, which is why you can't go super in 1, except I believe in the Taxman port of Sonic 1 he added a 7th special stage.
Just messing up the continuity.
No, but it's a secret one. You have to go into debug mode to find it. I can't remember if he put Supersonic in there, if you get that in or not. But either way, nice continuity nod. And also, as they're going away, Snively mentions we still control West Side Island. Maybe the Chaos Emerald is there, setting up Sonic 2.
I'll set up Sonic 2 for you.
And we get a nice panel, which this is a trope that Ian has used a lot in issues where they specifically go to game locations. We get a nice page where it's just the 6 long panels of Sonic going backwards through all the stages. So it starts in Scrap Rain, then goes to Starlight, Labyrinth, Spring Yard, where it has the Cope.
Yeah.
Cope. Then we go to Marble and back to Green Hill, where he has his plane.
So this actually harkens back way back in the Archie book to the Triple Trouble special. There was a nice 2-page splash in Triple Trouble that did the exact same thing.
The pages.
Yeah, and I think in the middle was Robotnik, and Sonic was beating him up in the middle, but the panel page progression was all the zones in order, and it was a nice 2-page splash. So I like that it's kind of harkens back to that, but it's.
I also like how it's him going backwards.
Yeah.
And also the Scrap Rain Zone kind of mimics the ending thing after you kind of hit Eggman and he goes down. Sonic just runs to that ledge and just watches him go down.
See, this is the best part because you can see the outside of Scrap Rain Zone.
Yeah, Jonathan has this weird fetish for the outside of Scrap Rain Zone.
It's my favorite location ever. That's where I want to retire to.
That's where I want to be buried.
I want to go outside.
More room
in the
for
morning.
me in Oil Ocean.
Bury me in oil. Can you get buried in oil
You
ocean?
could drown in all ocean zone. And I'm sure the oil would bury your body there.
I mean, you'd sink into the oil.
And then die.
Yeah.
And then you'd be buried there. So yes, you can be buried in
But
an ocean
I
zone.
don't know if you're buried if you sink.
All right, don't science shame him.
I mean, I'm sorry I'm spending way too much time on semantics, but
If you want to go anywhere to die, it'd obviously be like Casino Night or Carnival Night Zone. Because you could have some fun, you get bring some nice amount of rings.
well, no,
you
that's if you want to enjoy yourself before you die, not necessarily if you want to die. If you want to die, you'd probably go to some of the more intense ones. Like you'd probably go
Marble
to
Zone.
Lava Reef.
Lava Reef, Death Egg,
Mystic,
Doomsday.
Metropolis.
Mystic Cave. You could fall in the trap of MVM.
Huh.
This is not the house at MVM.
Just ended all right now. Instant death.
Well, it depends. If you're playing the remake, then you go to Hidden Patter Zone, which is a fate worse than death. So yes. And then
That's worse than fate.
so it's a death worse than fate. Sonic gets on his plane and goes back to Not Toad Village, and there's just we get to see the young freedom fighters and King Acorn. Which I'll finish the explanation and then I'll get to what I don't necessarily like about this stuff.
And then I'll yell at you very loudly.
That's fine. Why must you?
Then
Why must you break me in public, Jonathan?
And then we'll beat each other up. We'll fight over the ravioli.
Then we'll make sweet, sweet love
Sweet, sweet ravioli love.
down by Scrap Rain Zone.
That's how Sonic Says ends. Good night, everybody.
wait, then finish. And so Rota asks, what was he doing? And
Yeah, that's right. We're reading a Sonic book.
and Sonic says he was just digging up everything looking for Chaos Emeralds. Sonic explains they were in the Special Zone, which is where he found the King. Now King Acorn apparently was trapped in Special Zone, which is where Sonic found him, and then because he's the king, obviously he was able just to be picked up.
I have vertigo.
King Acorn asks if he found the last emerald. Sonic says that he found 5, including the one that King Acorn found him. That's 6, so there's still one more missing, which assumes Eggman is going to go and find. There's this weird moment where Sadie goes, "Don't worry, Daddy. Sonic has got an assist by Wood in the end." And King just goes, "You." And then the next one is like, "You're right, my dear. Okay, I'm gonna go. Bye." Like Is the King?
Oh.
No, it's
See-
Nagus. See,
yeah,
look at the shadow.
shadows.
Oh, see, I didn't pay attention to that. That was like, I don't care what Freedom Fighters.
So
I didn't pay attention
the
to it.
implication of this is that
Okay, I'm an idiot.
So, because Nagus got banished into the special zone, remember? Or, from Saturday morning cartoon.
It wasn't
times,
called the
was
special
something
zone, but yeah,
else. But
essentially,
now
yeah,
it's
gotcha.
the special zone. So
Ah!
Sonic freed him from the special
You
zone.
know, I actually like this more now. Now that you pointed out that very obvious shadow.
Yeah.
I should have noticed.
So
when I
this
read
is
before.
this is hinting at what they already talked about in Shattered, where they mentioned that, or was it Shattered or was it Eggman's Dozen, where he's going over all of his defeats,
probably both.
because he brings this up, and this is referencing that,
Gotcha. Okay, and then
or showing that
after King / Norgus walks off,
King Nagus.
Sonic's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go and fight Eggman again because that's all I do." And all the Freedom Fighters go, "Can I come?" And he's like, "I don't care, whatever, you nerds will just slow me down." And then Bunny gets out of her wheelchair. It's like,
It's very dramatic. Like I assume this is like the first time she's doing it, or
which they don't set that up,
Yeah.
so it's that moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't exactly. You can assume that because Rota's crying, everyone's happy about it. And so okay, then let's go, you bunch of freedom fighters, trademark copyright Sega, and then they all run off. They all run off to start Sonic 2.
To fight freedom.
If you know, I came up with the name Freedom Fighters.
Get out of here, Pen Kenders. No one asked you.
You will refer to me as the savior of the Sonic
Don't
franchise.
worry.
So yeah. Do we want to talk about each individual issue or just go over because it's not really an arc?
Yeah, let's just go on to 2,
Okay.
and then we can do it at the end.
So then, issue 289, Genesis of a Hero, Part 2, Coming Back for More. Written by Ian Flynn, pencils by Tracy Yardley, inks by Terry Austin, colours by Gabriel Cassidy, letters by John Workman, cover by Spaz, High Flying Variant by Jamal Peppers, Jim Marsh, and Matt Hearns. Issue 2 begins, Part 2 rather, begins essentially in Sky Chase Zone. Sonic tells her aboard the tornado.
This is not my aesthetic.
I love Sky Chase Zone, man. I love it.
Got nice music.
I like music. It's such a nice, especially after the terror of Ring Fortress, like a nice slow action zone where there's a glitch where you can fall off the tornado. If you go to the bottom of the screen and spin dash, sometimes you can go so fast you'll fall off the tornado.
I didn't know.
Ooh,
I have to try that.
that's where I'll go to die.
That's where all the flickies go to die.
Yeah.
Because unless they're birds or rabbits, just fall to the ground, man.
Oh, was it? I think it was either. It might have been Sky Chase, but I think Not Enough Rings made fun of that, or maybe it was some. Maybe no, it was Hilltop where he busts the Badniks and the little critter jumps out and is in flames. So it's like, oh no.
I think there's a dorky short about in Sky Chase where it just shows the flicky just falling to the ground and dying.
It's pretty dark.
I think in the Taxman remake he switched all the flickies to be birds.
Yeah,
I might be
think so.
wrong, but I think he did that.
That's a lot better.
And so yeah, we have Sonic and Tails.
Because if you look at this panel, Sonic is kicking the small turtle off of the turtleoid, and it's so gleeful about it. It's very
it's funny because the bigger turtle's like, oh no, my little baby turtle,
my baby.
and you can't kill those big things, so they're destined to be childless forever now.
It just explodes.
This franchise is dark.
It explodes with grief.
It explodes.
Where
forward.
is my child? Where is it?
Your son can't be with you anymore, son.
I guess every son's a son.
He was turned to wood.
Sonic and Tails bust through some badniks. They get up to the Ring Fortress zone. As in the game, the tornado is hit by a laser and starts to go down. And Tails, Sonic screaming, "It's a plane! You can fly! Leave it! Leave it!" Tails says, "I can fix it."
You're no Felix.
And then he dies.
then, as Aaron Weber promised, Tails is dead now. And there's one of my favorite panels is this look of Sonic looking backwards with just this face of "You killed my friend, now I'm going to kill you."
My name is Sonic Montoya. You killed my tails. Prepare to die.
Well,
Nope, I lost it.
right, thanks for that, TJ. Then we get some nice panels of Sonic going through some of the more iconic.
Nope, I got it
Oh,
again.
gee, okay, well,
He like, turns around and it goes black and white, and then in the background it's just playing something. They call me Sonic.
I thought you were gonna say in the
That's for that,
arms of an angel.
then we get some nice panels of Sonic going through Wing Fortress on doing some of the things that you, some of the set pieces from the game, such as when you go on the outside and have to hold on to those kind of X blocks as they fall apart.
Xbox.
X blocks is
Oh, I
X
thought you
panels.
said-
And then we get to a moment where Sonic busts in and fights the boss of Wing Fortress, but it's Snively. And there's a nice continuity moment here where he pulls up a force field, and Sonic's like, he pulled the same thing on South Island. And Snively goes, whereas Ivo, is it? It's I think it's technically pronounced Evo now, isn't it? Evo.
I thought it was Ivo.
I thought it was Ivo, but during when the Sonic Twitter had those like Sonic Eggman takeovers, I think they had Mike Pollock pronounce it as Evo because it's supposed to sound like evil.
Evo, like extra virgin olive oil.
I guess so. Because where Evo tried to drown you, I will be dicing and frying you, which is a nice moment where they have the spinning blades.
I hate that boss.
You do?
Yeah, I don't like it. Especially because you can like get crushed in the I think it's the remastered, where if you go too high on the little spike platforms.
Oh, you get
Oh,
crushed?
poor little
Automatically
Icarus
kills
went
you.
too high.
Bush is doing it as Knuckles because he has a gimpy jump in the classics. I hope they fix that in Mania. I hope they don't have Knuckles jumping like a 4-year-old anymore.
Your son will be a 4-year-old one day.
And he'll jump better than Knuckles will. And then Sonic, as he is wont to do, he destroys the laser. And then this is he completely destroys the control room of the Wing Fortress. It says, "You shut down my body. I knocked your whole fortress out of the sky. And now we're almost even." It's like, no, not really. You could have killed Tails for you know. You killed my friend, but I did property damage. That's
That's
good
why.
enough.
That's why he says almost being the key word. But I mean, I would say that's more than almost. Still.
But then, surprise, surprise, Tails isn't dead, unfortunately. He comes out with the tornado of Eggman in this comic book, where Eggman gets in his spaceship to fly up to the Death Egg. It's Snively. Sonic gets on the tornado, jumps up, jumps onto the bottom of the ship, which is different in the... I think in the game he's kind of like holding onto a big bar in the middle of it. If I
Yeah.
remember correctly. And this is a thing where they have Sonic holding his breath in space, but I think like he can just breathe in space. Really, because they've never had a thing where he has to hold his breath. He just breathes.
Also, I think even if you're holding your breath in space, you're still gonna die.
Oh yeah.
Because it's more a case
Yeah.
of you'd freeze before you would.
Or the vacuum, right? Wouldn't the
Mm,
vacuum
you would
like
implode.
suck your eyes out?
Well, I think, from what I understand, quite slight
Let him
detail on the
finish.
correct science of Sonic the Hedgehog. I think based on in Guardians of the Galaxy, they show where you just kind of instantly freeze over, and I think there was some science was like that's kind of accurate to what would happen. Like apparently the myth of your head exploding has been proven false. You would just
Aw,
suffocate.
man.
I don't
I
think.
didn't know that.
Yeah, but still, he should be dead.
Yeah.
This comic is unrealistic. They get on
That's
to
how the Archie series ends. Sonic dying in space.
as it should do.
Eggman just kicks his frozen corpse off of the ship.
I'd buy it.
And then the world is actually a better place.
Eggman's actually a very divine conqueror. Like he's tough but fair.
There are amusement parks everywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody goes hungry.
One of my favorite things in Sonic the Comic, there's an arc where they're going on a little detail after in issue 100 after Robotnik is defeated completely, and because in STC he is a complete dictator. He completely owns Mobius. He runs it completely. And there's a moment where Super Sonic in that issue turns good, because also in that comic book Super Sonic got separated from Sonic himself, and there were two different characters, and Super Sonic was an insane evil demon. He loses his memory, so he's good. He's living with this old elderly couple, and the old man is complaining about how like nothing works anymore, And his wife goes like, it's almost like you want Robotnik to be back in power. And he goes, well, at least when Robotnik was in power, the trains ran on time.
Yeah.
Which is more than he could say about now. Like, Eggman, things efficient. He gets, you may be put into a robot and lose humanity, but damn it, public transportation and things run on time. I vote for Eggman to be
Our overlord.
evil dictator's overlord.
I mean, should we hold an election, like maybe a fake poll on FTCR or something to be like, who would you rather be the dictator of you, Eggman,
King Acorn?
Red Skull,
Red Skull.
like the would-be rulers,
Ultron.
Ultron. Wow.
It's just a Marvel villains. And Eggman.
Wow. I mean, you could put other people on there.
Archie Eggman, Game Eggman, STC, Robotnik.
Saturday Morning Robotnik.
Adventures.
Adventures
Boom
Robotnik.
Eggman. I think Boom Eggman would be the best.
Boom Eggman is the most incompetent. I would argue he's more incompetent than Avengers Robotnik is.
Yeah, but I think he's also the nicest.
Oh yeah.
So he might be a
Bro to
nice
bro.
person, bro to bro.
What's going on with you and Avery? So Sonic gets into the Death Egg and he marvels at its size, while Snively is berated from Robotnik for letting him into the ship. There's a nice moment now where Snively runs in and Sonic's just like, you know what? Tails is fine. We're in this ship. I ain't in a hurry. I'm gonna destroy you two. But that's fine. I can take my time. It's this nice leisurely stroll.
Yeah.
Across it, which I actually like. I like this quite a bit. I think it's a nice little moment.
Panel with where he's in silhouette with the
Against the earth.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then, like in the game, he goes into the specific room, and then Silver Sonic comes out. Silver Sonic from Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Mega Drive, not Silver Sonic from Sonic 2 on the Master System. Very distinct, different Silver Sonics. Although I believe in Lego Dimensions, they refer to this Sonic as Robo-Sonic.
Robosonic.
Idiots, just clearly.
Well, I mean, he's not made of silver, right? He just is silver
No,
color.
he has Eggman spared no expense.
Welcome to Eggman Park. I spared no expense.
That's why he's so slow. The silver weighs him down. Yeah, there's this nice couple pages worth of a fight between the two of them, where Sonic says, he's powerful, but he's slow and stupid, and so Sonic just kind of destroys him for a bit.
Slow and stupid wins the race.
And then there's another nice moment where they're, like in the game, Eggman runs towards Death Egg Robot, and Sonic says, "You guys, you're trying to run from me?" And Robotnik goes, "He has a point." Picks up Snively and throws him at Sonic to slow him down. I like it. That's a funny moment. And then it gets to the point where Eggman jumps into the Death Egg Robot and says, "Now you die." And the game ends with a disclaimer. How does this play out? Play the game and find out for yourself. Not gonna lie. I mean, we'll get more into it, but not a fan. Not a fan of how this issue ended. And now not to spike the lead, but Genesis of a Hero issue number 290, the last issue released. I'm gonna say this, one of my favorite single issues they've ever released.
It's pretty good.
This issue is damn good.
It's pretty good.
This starts essentially. So we have Genesis of a Hero Part 3, Sonic Cease and Desist, written by Ian Flynn, pencils by Tracy Yardley, inks by Terry Austin, colors by Gabriel Cassiter, letters by John Workman, cover by Spaz, and Cosmic Eternity variant by the one and only Tracy Yardley. So it starts with essentially a nice kind of recap of the intro movie from Sonic 2D. Sonic running around, he runs to the top of that pointy mountain and sees the little planet encased in metal and attached by a giant chain. And then this is a nice thing where Ian does something in the continuity here where Sonic mentions Eggman found the way back after Time Eater. So I guess in Ian's timeline, generations, classics. Well, I guess you could in terms of generations, you can either argue the fact that the Sonic in the classic Sonic in Generations is directly taken after Green Hill from Sonic 1, or you could argue it is after Sonic 2 because Tails is there. Although if you want to get technical, I think in the timeline, CD should come before 2.
Yeah.
I think it's the only place it really makes sense.
Has there ever been an official Sega timeline?
I don't
Place a
believe.
CD.
I don't see. Some people like to place it either before 2 or after 3 and K.
It's obviously after 3 and K. Oh wait, you actually said that. That was my joke.
Yeah, that's just what.
Oh.
No, but yeah, so but
People actually place it after 3 and K.
I think Ian places it between 2. I think on a recent, well, by the time this comes out, older episode of the Bumblecast, I think Ian said that he actually places it between 2 and 3. Which I don't personally. It's not my place to call Ian Flynn wrong, but I don't like that assumption because I always have to mind that Sonic 3 pretty much takes place directly after 2.
I always kind of thought
Like the Death Egg crashes and Sonic goes straight there.
right.
Well, I think honestly, that thinking kind of gets explained in the context of this issue too, because there's mention of the repairs being done to the Death Egg, and so it's like during CD, this is like a side quest for Eggman while his minions are repairing the Death Egg and setting things up for 3 and K.
Which you could do that, but I mean, I just think in terms of his moveset, the terrible spin dash, lack of tails, for me it's just like.
Why does he never have the figure 8 again until
See with Smash Brothers?
Oh,
Smash
oh
Brothers
yeah,
Brawl.
that was before that.
So the last one, so Sonic mentions the Time Eater thing. He says, "I wish I remembered more of that adventure. I feel like I'm forgetting a heck of a party. Don't worry, Sonic Forces will retread that in a couple months' time." And then we get our introduction. And then we get our first, I guess, official introduction to Amy Rose or Rosie the Rascal, depending on what your previous canon you like to go with is.
Sally Acorn.
Sorry, if you want to go by the original Western Mega CD instruction manual.
Which, real quick, if you look at the tarot cards...
Tarot.
No. Anyway, like one has Perfect Chaos, one looks like it has Dark Gaia and Chip, and I think that one is Solaris.
Solaris.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, good catch.
So is
So what you're saying is everything bad that's ever happened in Sonic's universe is Amy's fault.
Which we all knew anyway. But
No,
okay,
it's not her fault. It's she
Don't
just
defend
knows
her.
about it beforehand.
Don't defend
So
her.
she obviously just doesn't have the foresight or doesn't care enough to be like, "Hey, Sonic, look at these monsters. You're gonna fight them."
So her fault.
I will say though, the Amy having the tarot card is a nice bit of content. Well, not continuity. It's a nice reference. It's a deep cut reference, as Kevin Smith would say. Because in the original instruction manual, they do mention that Amy uses tarot cards. No, Sonic would be there. It's something they've kind of dropped. I don't think outside of that manual they've ever mentioned them in the games or.
Well, Sonic Chronicles, I think.
Chronicles.
They do
Because
mention the tarot
I
cards.
thought.
I haven't played that game in like a
One of her
decade.
special attacks or something.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I thought.
But very, very.
Such a great game.
Yeah.
Sounds like something I would say.
You do have terrible opinions, it's true. Amy basically says, I'm your biggest fan and I knew we were destined to meet here because the cards told me. So it's like, the cards specifically said this mountain, this day. She's like, you just need to know how to interpret them. And so Sonic goes flying off into the little planet, basically saying, okay, I'm going to go, bye.
What if there was some other hedgehog on a tall mountain with some tarot cards and it was just like, but I don't understand. They said that my girlfriend would be here.
Silver, that's why Silver comes back to the past. I said I could get laid if I could sit on this planet at this exact time. And then we
Shadow's like, "I woke up for this."
Then we get Sonic in a palm tree planet with I get a few. There's a nice little reference to the ending movie where those kind of bird bandits with the long beaks.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
I always thought they
into
were more
the-
like mosquitoes.
Mosquito
I thought
bird
they were
things, yeah.
mosquitoes.
And then we get there's a nice one where Sonic runs into Eggman, but I think this line tickled TJ when you read it. Eggman,
I want to tickle me, TJ.
Eggman's going, "What do you mean you're behind schedule?" And it's like, "Sir, we're working as hard as we can, but our forces are split between the Death Egg and that frivolous amusement park of yours." And Eggman goes, "I told you, Carnival Night is tactically important." Because that is also a point. In Sonic 3 and Knuckles, specifically Sonic 3, Carnival Night is made by Eggman. It's not a natural zone on the floating island. But yeah, so like why
What are you
would
talking about? Knuckles made it because Knuckles needed something to do.
TJ, people can't hear you pointing at Jonathan.
Let him finish.
I was finished, but okay.
I've said my piece. Okay, bye. And then we get Eggman in his terrible boss, some Sonic Punchy Panic with the bumpers. There's a great moment where Eggman goes like, "Ha! Think again. I'm gonna use the power of the time stones. I'll rewrite history. The world will be mine." And he's like, "You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?" "Nope. I just split my entire plan to you, didn't I?" "Yep." "Okay then. I'm gonna go now." And then they fight. Sonic destroys the Punchy Panic boss. And Amy catches up because she said, "I may not be as fast as you, but I'm 10 times as determined." And he says, "That's pretty impressive, kind of, and creepy, but let's move on." Something that they show here, which they've never really shown in context of the games, is Sonic pretty much just walks from Punchy Panic and Collision Chaos starts. It's not something they've really ever shown, because most of the level transitions in Sonic 3 and K are like Sonic going into a cannon or falling down or going up in the air. Very, very rarely just... I'd love if one of the transitions in Mania is just him walking 2 feet and like the background just changes completely from like a snow level to a fire level. I'd like it. It'd be good. It'd be good. So now they're in Collision Chaos and Metal Sonic appears. So just like in the game, kidnaps Amy and flies off. And Sonic goes, "Well, that thing was fast." And makes a face that makes TJ happy inside.
It's because he's like super. He's
Oh,
pumped.
yeah,
He's pumped for a challenge.
And as he said it in Generations, an adventure without any challenge is just not fun. And then we get kind of going back to what we talked about in part 1 with the 6-panel breakdowns. Here we have a really nice thing of 3 pages, each with 4 panels of present, past, future, present, past, good future, bad future of Collision Chaos, Tidal Tempest, and I think on Wacky Workbench it looks like, where Sonic is basically going. He's figuring out what he needs to do. There's a nice moment where he goes through a future signpost, and she says, "It's only just a future." And then he starts to realize that if he can go to the past and destroy the bad naked generators, and then when he goes into the future again, that fixes things. And then when he gets to Wacky Workbench, he sees one of the holograms of Metal Sonic just like stepping on animals. Which I always wondered, what was the point of those? I guess because I always wondered what the point of that was. And Sonic Starlight says, "It looks like Eggman set this up just to mess with local critters. What a jerk." Which I guess that's what it really is. Just to scare the local wildlife.
Just to mess with them. I guess.
Weirdo.
He's a mean,
Well,
mean old man.
we never actually see local wildlife, do we? We just see the plants.
Yeah, and when you go in the past, you see like the hologram, like Metal Sonic will be
He'll be, like,
stepping
stepping on
them
little
or
things.
trying to swat away birds.
Oh, so there are like birds and stuff in the past?
Yeah.
Well, no,
remember that.
it's a hologram of him stepping on a holographic animal.
Okay.
I guess it's just to scare the wildlife there.
Okay.
So going through the...
I guess that explains why the wildlife actually isn't present.
Maybe, yeah. So you're going through those 4 stages. I forgot to mention there's also a page for Quartz Quadrant of him just destroying. And he learns every time he destroys a robot generator, it makes the future good. But then we get to Stardust Speedway. And Eggman basically says, here's what the plan is. We're going to have a race. If you win, you get to save Amy. If you don't win, Metal Sonic gets the killer. He's like, "Okay, bye!" And there's a 2-page splash, which is one of my favourite things. It'd probably cost an arm and a leg, but I would love to buy these pages of just Sonic and Metal Sonic having a race. This page makes that race look fun. Because I'll be honest, that Metal Sonic boss fight, I think one of the weakest boss fights. It's not fun. It's just boring.
Yeah.
It's mentioned in the editor's note, but there was also a Stardust Speedway 2-page splash in Sonic the Hedgehog issue 25, drawn by Spaz.
Oh yeah.
It's not as
Dynamic.
well. I would say it's pretty dynamic. I'm going to say it's not as large. There's a little less going on, but it's a similar thing going on. Like you get to see more of the zone gimmick, and there's more of a story being told with this. the other one is Sonic is bigger. There are less like little moments of Sonic.
I
in
like the
middle.
fact that there's no dialogue in this one. It's just the
Yeah.
voice. I like that. And then Sonic gets to Amy, rescues her. Eggman flies off, and Sonic goes, "Well, you know what?" Sonic basically says, "If I can find the time stone, I can set this place back to normal." So the issue ends with Sonic and Amy going off to hunt down some time zones. So there it is, the 3 issues of Genesis of a Hero. I don't know what part 4 would have been. I'm going to assume it would have probably just been like Doomsday Zone.
Yeah.
It probably just
Yeah.
would have been the end
Probably
of that.
just like the tail end of Sky Sanctuary leading in, or maybe
Maybe.
Death Egg.
And again, while issue 3 didn't include the exact end of CD, it's most of that game,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's why I like it more than 1 and 2.
And it feels more like an ending than like here's the big bad guy.
Yeah,
Cut
I didn't.
off, you
I
know?
must feel I didn't like that much because I mean that's something that a lot of the in another time and another place ones do. They be
Yeah.
like, find out more, play the game. It's a weird stylistic choice for the story of this arc, where issue 1 is like the last 2 levels of the game with some extra stuff at the end.
Mhm.
Sonic 2 is, the last zone, but like you miss out the final boss, and then Sonic City is everything up until the last zone.
Yeah.
Like it's. I'm not sure if this was like a choice by Ian or Sega or Archie, but for me it's not consistent. It's just kind of weird in that way. Again, and maybe this is more my fault going into it, but I was expecting issue 1 to be Sonic 1. Because if Ian's shown, he can kind of, because there's no plot to those games.
Yeah.
Really, it's just Sonic find chaos emeralds, defeat robots, defeat Eggman. I think you could have put that kind of basics through. And again, I didn't much care for all of the Freedom Fighter stuff in issue 1, just because it does. You have all these pages setting up the fact that Sonic and all the Freedom Fighters are gonna go to basically do Sonic 2. Then in the Sonic 2 story, they're not there at all. So like, why?
Yeah, they didn't even like mention that. Hey, they
Yeah.
helped us in
Yeah,
the,
it's
the
like-
past levels.
See, I
or
think what
zones.
happened was editorial and Sega were like, "Hey, we want you to do a 4-issue story arc that is an issue per game." I don't know if they were like, "Hey, don't necessarily do the whole game because we want people to go and play the games because we have them available to buy on mobile and whatnot," or we have Mania coming out and we want people to play that. That could be a reason.
Look,
But I
I'm
think
just saying 2 out of 10 no oil ocean zone.
Which we look, because these came out a year before Mania would have. I know there was the delay, but
yeah,
these
I mean,
came out like a fair bit ago.
I don't know, but I also think that with Sonic 1, Ian had a plan for a story, and he was like, the story I want to tell, I don't feel like I can tell in one issue. So I think that's why it was like half of it's the last part of the game, and then half of it's the Freedom Fighters, because he really wanted to do that Freedom Fighter story that he already hinted at, and he wanted to connect it to Sonic 1, but he didn't feel like he had enough time to do it. I feel like that's where he went with it.
I would have just removed it then, because it doesn't do much for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would have rather seen him just retell Sonic 1 in 4 issues, or retell Sonic 2 in 4 issues.
Plus, it's kind of odd because Sonic Genesis already kind of went over
Yeah.
Sonic
Yeah.
1 and 2, so to go back and do it again, I mean, even if it is, a new continuity post-reboot, still kind of
Yeah.
a little bit
I mean, if
redundant.
That's why because Genesis is a fine story, but Genesis had the Freedom Fighters. To make it stand out, I was hoping this would be just more game accurate.
Right.
Because to me that's why, because it helps it stand apart from Genesis. The fact that you don't have Antoine and Bunny and Sally, that.
I do think Snively was fun in it, though. I do like the inclusion of Snively because I like that it gave Eggman someone to play off of.
Snively added things where the Freedom Fighters really. I mean, we mentioned that moment of like Bunny standing up, like, is that meant to be the first time she's ever walked? It's not
Yeah,
set up.
it's
Like, I mean,
unclear.
you can assume again based on their reactions, but it's just like you could have done I would have rather just a story about that
Yeah.
rather than just it's 4 pages. She stands up.
It
Wrote a
doesn't.
prize.
It doesn't do justice to either story because it's two separate stories put together. And I would much rather have either gotten just Sonic 1 in a 1-issue recap, or do a couple issue arc that is Sonic 1 with the Freedom Fighter stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because I think that adding the Freedom Fighter stuff is a little too much to tell.
Especially when they don't do anything in the 2 or CD
Yeah.
adaptation. And they're probably unlikely they would have been in 3 and K either.
No, and I thought part of it was because they made that point in Countdown to Chaos where they were forgetting, or no, the issues after Countdown to Chaos, the Station Square Rescue or whatever, where the Freedom Fighter's like, I remember being here, but I also remember not being here. So I feel like in this continuity, they were initially planning to remove the Freedom Fighters from the game stories, and just doing the game stories without Sonic. Or I mean, without the Freedom Fighters. Yeah, just...
I was like, game stories, so everything's just messed up.
Sonic the Hedgehog featuring Sally.
I have that.
We've played that ROM hack. And also, it's weird that it's weird when you have the fact of classic Sonic, I guess, being a child or being younger. It just seems weird to me that this Kingdom would allow this child to go and fight that fight.
It's got no king, because the king is wherever, and it's Nagas posing as the king.
It's still just,
weird.
It's still kind of.
Yeah, I think it made more sense in the
old
reboot
continuity,
because all the adults were dead or roboticized or whatever.
Right.
They were not around.
Shock.
Uncle Chuck.
Where's Mutsky? Where's Mutsky?
Mutsky.
Guys, see Uncle Chuck's picture again? God, appearance.
Yep.
You can't. It's made of wood.
It's Uncle Chuck dressed as Dracula, and he's like, his big pointy teeth and his long cape. Remember him exactly that way.
It's a horrible monster made of wood. But yeah, so Caterpillars. I think the CD issue saves this arc because the artwork's fantastic. I mean, Tracy does great work, and
well, the other thing is it's not really an arc.
This feels more like something like, say, Shadow Saga, where it's just 4 stories loosely connected.
Yeah.
Vaguely connected.
The only reason they're connected is because we know what order they're supposed to go.
I mean, and they mention each other. They mention the events of each other, and it's like, Snively is clearly off working on the Death Egg and stuff on Angel Island while Robotnik's doing Time Stone stuff.
Which, just as a side note too, which probably won't get the Sonic 3 Knuckles adaptation, but didn't in Total Eclipse, when Knuckles sees Snively, he was the one piloting the Egg Robo, because Knuckles starts to lose his temper.
Yeah,
at the very end of that
I
issue when
think
he's cleaning up.
they imply. Yeah, they imply. I mean, Snively was there. I forget exactly what he did, but
Okay.
he was there on that
Okay.
point. I kind of don't like that. I kind of like the fact that this one Egg Robo decides to mesh with Knuckles. I
To-
prefer that rather than Snively doing it, but.
You're right.
Yeah, it's great to see Tracy back on the main book again. Again, I don't want to be a dead horse at this point, but I kind of wish Jim Marsh and Matt Holmes had worked on this.
I do. We were talking. Gabriel Casada's
does great work on issue 3 because they say in the back they have the editor Vincent Lovato mentions that, I guess, specifically for issue 3, Genevieve
with her tarot cards.
with her carrot cards. Cassiter, it was directly trying to emulate the look of the Sonic CD intro.
Yeah.
So normally Cassiter does this every panel, every page has like multiple sources of light and shading.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why sometimes I don't, unless there's a reason for it, I don't like what's the light source causing it to look like that type of thing. But in CD, the colour in CD in the CD looks great.
It looks kind of watercolor painted.
I
It's
think
really great.
I think they mentioned they did do a specific type of colouring. They did a great job honouring the paintery style of CDs. I think they made it look like the kind of like animated background. It looks great. Looks great. No, this issue no real complaints. The arc as a whole, it feels very disjointed.
Yeah. And especially since we're not going to get, if the series is ended, we're not going to get the conclusion to the whole King Acorn Nagus thing that's presented in the first one. I mean, we know what happens.
I doubt they touch on that in the 3K adaptation. I mean, no.
No, I think it was something that was going to be brought up in like a backup or something.
Although, also, I say the kind of something that's slightly, maybe not ironic, but it's... I don't want to say fitting, because I don't like this, but, you know, that's the irony of the last issue being released of this book is the one where they shoehorn the Riverdale on the front cover.
Well, I think the worst part is that...
The final nail in the coffin of this franchise.
I think the worst part is that there's such great covers, and then you get a little less of the cover because of the banner. Get a little less.
We've been over this, but Riverdale is not a show that is appropriate for the target demographic of this comic book.
No, it's a hilarious train
With
wreck.
the first episode involves them finding a dead body with a bullet hole in its brain.
You constantly see that.
Actually, you don't see the body until Act 2.
Yeah, and then you do see the...
Get out of my house, TJ.
bullet hole a lot.
I will see myself out.
I don't care.
I don't care.
But so what did everyone think of Genesis of a Hero?
It's good.
It was good.
It's good.
It's good.
It's okay. It's good.
I wouldn't
like
say okay. There's no oil ocean zone. No oil ocean zone.
Sonic-
No Mystic Cave zone. Just come on.
Aquatic Ruin
Sonic CD
was
was
best.
my favorite part of it. I think it was everybody's favorite part of it. I liked
I would-
everything they did about it.
I would be surprised if it wasn't, because it tells a complete story.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't get the ending, but as you said, I prefer the ending of let's go get some time stones rather than just
You
die now. It's a giant robot. What happens? Play the game. Maybe I don't want to. I read the comic books. I don't have to play the game.
Play the
Alright?
game. You decide.
Okay, he
With your
dies.
skill. I am God. You die.
Yeah, think about it.
You die now.
So yeah,
Let's just go to Mr. Caves and just run into the bottomless pit.
Just bust a move.
but it's. I'm glad the last issue was CD. It was a good. Again, if it is the last issue, it's a good last issue to go out on.
Mhm.
Very entertaining. If it had been the Sonic 2 issue,
then we would have had a problem.
it would have probably left kind of a slightly sour taste in my mouth. Like, you're going to end it there with a play the game and find out what happens.
I've played the game. I've
played
beaten
it.
the game.
I know what happens. Show me in art form. Show me Tracy Yardy's artwork, damn it. I want to see that.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else have any other words to say about Genesis of a Hero?
It's good.
And anything
Snooks.
productive to say? Snooks.
That might have been the meanest thing Jonathan's ever said.
It's made of wood, technically. Paper comes from trees. It's very thin wood. It's made of wood.
He's got a point.
All this banter is making me crabby, apparently.
If you can still find them, I highly recommend picking up the CD issue 290. If you can find the 1 and the 2 issues, there's some good artwork. There's some nice moments, but they don't tell a complete story.
Go out of your way to get the CD issue.
Yes.
And if you see...
Out of your way, like drive states away.
like slap people out of your way. To, like push them. Actively hurt them.
Stop them to get to that book.
Betray your friends.
Betray your friends. Steal
Break
their
into
copies.
Bobby's house and steal his books.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Gonna get them too.
So pick up the CD issue if you can, and please join us on the next episode rather, where we will be, as far as we're aware, we will be finishing our coverage on the Archie series as a whole. We will be reviewing Sonic Mega Drive: The Next Level, and then be given a kind of retrospective on the Archie series as a whole. Thank you everyone for joining us. I've been FTA.
Coming January 26th, it's Riverdale. I mean, Jono.
I'm T-Bag.
And I'm the Anti-Guardian.
Okay, bye.
And there was cheese.